Hey there, Thomas from Bricks here. In this video, you and me, we are going to take a tour of Bricks. And at the end of this video, I hope that you have a fairly good understanding on how to get started with Bricks and how to build your first website with Bricks. Now, we are not going to go into too much detail with any specific feature because that would be simply too overwhelming. But if you've got any specific questions after watching this video, we've got you covered in 4 different ways. There's the Bricks Academy, there's the Bricks community on Facebook, the Bricks community forum, and you can also get customer support via email. Now, every one of those channels is geared more towards a specific type of questions. For example, if you're just getting started and you want to learn more about a specific feature, also how to establish some good best practices and also some tips on how to use Bricks in the most productive way, I would recommend you check out the Bricks Academy. You can find it by visiting academy.bricksbuilder.io. Now, this is our official knowledge base here, and as you can see, it's divided in different topics. If you're just getting started, definitely make sure to check out the Getting Started guide here and also the template topic. Really important to understand that concept in detail. If you're a developer and you want to extend Bricks, you can also find information in the Academy. You can go to Developer, and there's an article about how you can create your own custom elements, for example, how the individual controls work, what's the syntax for those, and also a list of the available Bricks filters if you want to extend Bricks in any other way. Now, if you have more of a how-to question, it's probably best to either sign up for our Facebook group here, that's the Bricks community, or you can go to our community forum. Now, the Bricks community on Facebook currently is 2,700 members strong. You can become a member. You don't need to be a customer. If you have some pre-sale question or you just want to connect with other Bricks users, this is definitely the best place to be. The community forum here, also a great place to ask how-to questions, but also a good place to report bugs. So you start using Bricks, you encounter some bugs, you can head over to the forum, sign up. You can sign up for free. You don't need to be a customer as well. And you can report your bugs. Here you can ask your how-to questions here as well. And the 4th channel, the official channel to get support and also actually the preferred way to submit bugs is via email. So you can send an email to help@bricksbuilder.io, or you can fill out the contact form over at bricksbuilder.io/contact. All right, with this introduction out of the way, we can now get started. Number 1 is to download the Bricks theme. In order to do so, we need to head over to bricksbuilder.io/account, and then you need to log in by using your email address and the password that you received in your purchase confirmation email. Once you're logged in, you should see this Downloads tab. If you click here, you can see the Downloads screen and this big green download button. So if I click this, it's going to download the latest stable Bricks theme version as a zip file. At the time of recording, that version is 1.3.3. If you're the developer, you can also download the Bricks child theme. That's the place where you can add all of your custom code. If you want to extend Bricks in any way, make sure to use the child theme, not the parent theme. Also, if you downloaded Bricks and you want to roll back to a previous version, like let's say now I'm on 1.3.3, that version maybe contains a bug and I want to go back to the previous version, you can download any of the previous versions by clicking on this drop down here, and you can see all of the releases since Bricks 1.0. So in my case, I want to go back to 1.3.2. I can just click here and you can now see that the version number has been updated. If I click this button, it's going to download Bricks 1.3.2, and then I can just upload this version on my WordPress site. That's how you can roll back anytime. Okay, so now we downloaded Bricks 1.3.3, and we are now going to upload, install, and activate this. So we can head over to our WordPress installation. In my case, I'm here on localhost, and that means that any license that I'm going to activate here for Bricks, it will not count against my license limit. So if you install Bricks on localhost or a .local or on your staging site, such as staging mysite.com, those installations, they will not count against your license limit. Okay, the process is the same as for any other WordPress theme. You just go to Appearance and then under Themes, we can upload our zip file. In my case, I've already done this. You can see Bricks is active, the child theme is active. In your case, if you don't have Bricks uploaded yet, you can just click here on Add New, then on Upload Theme. You're going to select the latest version that we just downloaded a minute ago. Click on Install Now and then activate Bricks. Once you've done this, you will be redirected to this Getting Started screen here. And as you can see, Bricks version 1.3.3 is active. And this welcome screen also provides you with various links to the Academy on how to get started, how the editing with Bricks works, about the templates. There's a topic for the different features. If you're the developer, you can learn how you can create your own elements. You can get in touch with us. This is a link to our contact form, or you can email us directly here at help@bricksbuilder.io. And you can also visit our public roadmap. Over there, you can also find the idea board where you can submit your own feature requests that can be upvoted and commented on by other community members. All right. The last step that we need to perform before we can start editing with Bricks is to activate our license. And we can do this here under this license menu item. So I click here. And in my example, you can see I've already activated my license. How would you do that yourself? You can go to your Bricks account, you click on license, you copy your license key, and then you paste it into this box. Click on activate license, and then your status here should change to this active state in green. And at this stage, we can already start editing with Bricks. But I want to take a few minutes first to walk you through those menu items here as well, one by one. Let's get started with the system information. If I click here, you will be presented with a list of various information about your WordPress installation, but also about the server that this installation is running on. And the thing that you need to watch out here for in order to ensure the best possible editing experience is that everything is shown in a nice green color like this one here. So in my case, I've got two warnings. You can see those here in this orange color, this warning color. The memory limit here in my case is too low. And the same also goes for the execution time. Recommended is 180. I have 30. So those settings you have to change yourself. If you don't know how to do this, there's information here on the Bricks Academy, of course. So you can just click this link. It will open up the Academy and it will show you how you can adjust those values. If you're not sure how to do this, you can always contact your web host and they should be able to assist you with your request. Okay, once all of this is green, you are good to go. And next up is our sidebars managers. So Bricks has a built-in sidebar manager. You can see in my case, I registered one sidebar. You just give it a name and a description, like in this case here. I've created a sidebar named Post. And then here under Appearance Widgets, I can find my Post sidebar, which is right here. And then you can add your widgets. And then later inside of the builder, you have the sidebar element. And then you can select your Bricks sidebar and it's going to be rendered on the front end. Custom fonts would be the next item here. I've already uploaded a few custom fonts just to show you how this would look like. All you need to do to add your own custom font is just to click on Add New, give it a name, select the font weight, the font style, and then you can upload whatever font file format you have available here. And then you can click on Publish, and that's going to upload your custom font. You can also see here there's a font preview. In my case, I haven't uploaded anything here, but you can see we have this font here and the font preview for that one. Later, once we're inside the builder, I'm going to show you how you can use those custom fonts. We have the Bricks settings here, and those are divided into different tabs. I'm just going over those briefly as well. If you need more information, pretty much every setting has a Bricks Academy article linked in this description here. At the very top, we have the post type. So this is a list of all the registered post types. In my case, I only have post and page. If you have WooCommerce active, for example, you would have the product post type here as well. And then you can enable this also for any other custom post type that you have registered. By default, most cases, you probably only need your pages. If you want to have a layout for your single blog post, you would actually create a template in Bricks. And then through the template conditions, you can tell Bricks where you want to show this template. The same goes also for single products. So you don't need to change anything here in the beginning. Gutenberg data, this is just for migration purposes. So you can load your Gutenberg blocks into Bricks, and also you can save your Bricks data as Gutenberg data. Again, more information is provided here through this Academy link. SVG uploads by default are disabled in WordPress, and this is because of security reasons. If you want to enable them for a specific user role, you can do this here. In my case, I've enabled this for all the site administrators. If you only want to enable this for a specific user, you can do this as well, simply by editing the profile of the specific user. And then we have different miscellaneous settings down here. Next up, builder access. By default, all of the administrators have full access, and all of the other rows have no access. In my case, for the editor user role, for example, I provide edit content capabilities. That means someone who has edit content access can change the text inside of the builder, and he can change images, but he or she will not be able to change the layout or to delete elements. That's only possible when you have full access. So you can do this on a per user role basis, but again, if you edit a user profile individually, you can also set the access on a more granular level. Now, code execution down here, this allows you to use the code element inside of Bricks to execute PHP code, HTML code, CSS, and JavaScript. In my case here, I also only enabled this for administrators. Can be quite a dangerous setting if you allow someone that you don't fully trust. So make sure you trust the person that you give this code execution permission, especially as he or she will be able to execute PHP code. Templates, you don't really need to set anything here in the beginning. This is really only necessary if you want to work with remote templates. That means you can access your Bricks templates from a different Bricks installation. If you want to learn more about this, there's a link here to this Bricks Academy article. Builder settings, by default, the builder saves all of the changes every 60 seconds automatically. Personally, I don't like this setting. I always disable autosave and save manually. That way I have a clean revision history. Builder mode, by default, is dark. You can also use the light builder if you prefer that one. The language inside of the builder you can also change, like in my case here, everything is in English. In the backend, if I want to have the builder in German, I can just enable German or Russian or any other language. The toolbar logo link, this is a pretty handy link. You will see this later inside of the builder. It's this little yellow logo on the top left-hand side in the toolbar. In my case, I like to link this to the dashboard and then open this in a new tab. This way I can really easily navigate between the builder and the dashboard. Performance settings. In my case, I disabled emojis, embeds, and jQuery migrate. The Bricks lazy loading I have enabled. API keys, you can copy and paste them under this tab. In my case here, I use the Google Maps. For the Maps element, I also download images from Unsplash right inside the builder. So I pasted the API key here as well. I also use MailChimp and SendGrid. Last tab here, custom code. This allows you to define some global custom CSS. So you can write your CSS right here. It's going to be applied throughout your entire site. Same goes for JavaScript. Down here, there are 3 different locations. You can add scripts inside of your head tag. So if you would, for example, use Google Analytics, the script, you would copy and paste it in here. And then we have 2 more script locations. Once you've defined all of your changes, you can just go down here and you can click Save. If you want to reset, you can do that as well down here on the right. And if you want to use the same settings on a different Bricks installation, you can just click on Export Settings. That will generate a JSON file. Then you would hop over to your other Bricks installation, go to Bricks Settings, and then click on Import. Then just you're going to choose that JSON file and you click on Import. All right, that's everything in terms of the Bricks settings here. Last area that we are going to check out are the Bricks templates. So as you can see, there are no templates here right now. We are going to create our first template in a minute. But if you already have some existing templates, maybe someone sent you a Bricks template as a zip file or a JSON file, then you can import the image right here just by clicking this Import Templates button. Then you're going to select this template from your computer, you import it, and then it will show up in this list. I'm going to cancel this action because I don't have any template to import, and I want to show you now how we can create our first template. Before I do this, I quickly want to explain when would you create a template. So basically, every time you want to show a layout, a design in a specific area of your website, you would create a template. For example, your website header and your website footer, which you would normally show on your entire website. Those are perfect candidates for a template. Same goes also if you want to show and use the same single blog post layout. You would create a template for that. Also, if you have WooCommerce active and you want to design a single product page, again, you would create a template, assign the template type, template conditions, and then Bricks knows where to render this template. We're gonna go ahead here and create our header template. Okay, I'm just gonna name this header, and then I need to tell Bricks what sort of template type it is. Okay, you can see here, I have different types available. In our case, we know this is going to be our website header, so I select header here. If I would select something different like single, we've got one problem. We could actually still use this as a header template by defining the template conditions later on, but Bricks by default would not know that this is supposed to be a header. That's why it's important to really just take a second and to think where you want to show this template on your website. In our case, we've got our header, so the decision is very simple. If I would create a footer template, I would select template type footer. If I would create a single blog post template, I would just select single, and then through the template conditions, I can tell Bricks that I want to show this for my single blog posts. Okay, click here, header, and we can give this a template bundle and a template tag. I'm not going to do this right now. I'm just simply going to publish this template. There's nothing designed with Bricks yet, but if we go back here, we can now see that we have got our first template, title is header, the type is header, and because the type is header, Bricks automatically will use this published header template for your entire website. There's also a shortcode here. This allows you to use the shortcode element and to show this template inside any other page. So you can build some really advanced layouts by nesting templates within a specific container on a certain page. The possibilities are really limitless here. All right, we're not going to design our header right now. I just wanted to show you how you can create your first template. I'm actually going ahead and start editing my first page with Bricks. So go to Pages. And you can see here I've got a total of 13 pages, but only 3 of them are currently rendered with Bricks. And you can really easily identify those. They have this little Bricks label after the page title. So my blog page is rendered with Bricks. My checkout, my WooCommerce cart is rendered with Bricks. And also my shop page here is rendered with Bricks. Everything else is rendered with Gutenberg. Now what I want to do, I have this blank page here and I want to start editing this with Bricks. And there are also 2 ways to do this. We can just hover over the title here and then click on Edit with Bricks. Or we can edit this page in Gutenberg. And then we have this Bricks Edit with Bricks button right up here. If I click this page will be loaded inside of the builder and we can start creating our layout with bricks. We can also see down here, because we have advanced custom fields active, the plugin, that we have this hero image field. And this is an image field. I already selected an image. We're going to use this later on because I want to show you how you can use dynamic data inside of bricks. All right, let's get started by clicking the Edit with Bricks button. So now it's loading up the builder. You can see we are on version 1.3.3, and this is how everything looks like. It's also where we're going to spend most of our time with bricks, because you barely have to go back into the WordPress admin area. We can create new pages right within the builder. We can navigate between pages as well. We can create our templates right within bricks and also edit different templates right within the builder. All right, so this interface, and it basically consists of 4 parts. At the very top here, we've got our builder toolbar with various actions. So we're going to explore those in more detail once we start actually creating our page layout. Then on the left-hand side here, we've got our builder panel. This one we can resize by default. It's 300 pixel wide. You can just grab the right-hand side here and then drag it like this to resize the panel in case you need a bit more horizontal width. I'm just going to restore this to the default width. You can also hide the panel by toggling this little arrow right here. In the center here, we've got our builder canvas. This one gives you a real-time view of your bricks page. And on the right-hand side, we've got our structure panel. This one we can toggle as well by clicking on this little structure icon up here. And this one is going to show you all of the elements that we're going to use on this page. It gives you a nested view. So this way, it's really easy to see how your page is structured. You can also perform various actions right inside this structure panel, such as copying elements, deleting elements, moving elements around, renaming the element label, etc. All right, so there are 2 ways to go about this when you want to get started with bricks. You can either start here from scratch on this blank canvas just by adding your first container, or, and this is actually the step that I would recommend you in the very beginning, is to insert a pre-designed template. This way you can see how certain layouts are accomplished, and I think this really helps to speed up the process and the understanding how the whole container concept works, like how you can create multi-column layouts and a lot of other advanced layout settings that normally you would have to probably figure out via trial and error. So we're just gonna start there, and we're gonna insert an existing pre-designed template. You can do this from here by clicking this little folder icon, and you can also accomplish the same thing here in the builder toolbar at the top. There's the same icon here. So we can just click on templates, and you can see we've got 2 different views. We can view our own templates here under My Templates. This one is selected by default. And we also have access to the community templates. So under My Templates right now, you can see the header template, that one we just created a few minutes ago. And if we want to switch to editing this template, we can just click this little pencil icon. We're not going to do this right now. What we actually want to do, we want to insert a community template that's already designed. So click here on community templates, and here you can see the entire community templates library. You can just scroll down and then hover over any template that you like. So in my case, I'm going to have a look at this template here. This is an individual section. You can see here template type section. You can also filter the community templates library by template type if you only want to see the individual section templates. I can just click here, and then it's going to show me the section templates. I like this one. This one is very simple, and I'm going to preview this one first. So this is how this single section template looks like. Looks like this. We've got a little heading here, another heading here. This is a text element. And then we've got 3 icon boxes in this 3-column layout. Okay, I like this one. So I'm going to insert it. If you have a template that contains images that you would like to insert as well, make sure to activate this import images. So for example, if I were to insert this template here, which contains an image, I would enable this option. And when I insert it, this image or all of the images inside of this template will be imported into this WordPress installation. I can leave this off because this one doesn't have any images. So I'm just going to click on Insert. And now you can see the template has been inserted. Now, one thing I quickly want to point out, and the step that I would recommend you perform in the very beginning, especially if you work on a smaller screen, is to adjust the canvas width. Because by default, our containers, which we can see here, this structure here, we have one container on the root level, has a default width of 1100 pixels. So we want to make sure that we actually showcase this properly inside of the builder. The problem I have right now here is that my entire browser window has a width of 1600 pixels, 300 taken up by our panel and 300 by the structure. You can see that's why the width here is 1000 pixels. This is the canvas width. But because our container has a width of 1100 pixels, we want to make sure that our canvas here has a total width that's larger than 1100. So let's just say I set this to 1200. I press enter, and now you can actually see that this container does not take up the entire width of the page. If I would change this to 1400, you can see this even better. This is basically how I would look on a desktop with a 1400 pixel width. So normally I would probably set this to something like 1280, press enter, and you can also see now here on the scale, it basically scales the whole data inside of this page down to 78%. So we can see this properly. If you want to preserve this change, so next time you load up the builder, make sure to lock this width just by clicking on this little lock icon up here. Now it's locked. You can see I cannot change this anymore, and this only affects my desktop base breakpoint. If I go further down to smaller views, it's not going to have any effect. I can see here, this actually shows properly anyway. So that's fine. All right, so now you can see here we have our template inserted and our structure also has been populated. If I'm going to expand everything, you can see how the whole layout looks like. I'm actually only going to expand this one. So you can see we've got this root container here, which contains my heading. We named this one subheading. You can change this title to anything else you like. If I want to just change this to small heading, I can rename it like this. You can also see the element label here has been updated as well. Then we have our normal heading. If I hover over the text, you can see here this is my text. And then I have this container here, which contains those three icon boxes. And if I have a look at this, you can actually see here how we were able to accomplish this 3-column layout. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here trying to explain how you can achieve different layouts. Again, the best way to familiarize yourself with the whole container concept is available here right in our Bricks Academy. So if you search for container element, you will find an article, this one. Previously, we were using the section, row, and column approach. The container is much more flexible. You can align the data and the elements inside of your container very easily. We have some visual controls for that. So that's a big improvement, but it takes a little bit more time to understand and to just really wrap your head around this whole concept. But once you get the hang of it, you definitely don't want to go back to any of those like section, row, and column layouts. So there's written content here, and there's also a video here. So definitely make sure to check this video out. So here we've got our container with our 3 columns. So you could just rename this and also call this column 1, column 2, and column 3, for example. Now the container that is containing those columns here, all we need to do to achieve a column layout is just to change the direction to horizontal, and that way we have our column layout. Again, make sure to watch the container element video. This one is covering the whole container concept in great detail. You can play around also with a few different templates. If you just want to remove this content here, you can go back to the library, insert another template, and then get really quickly a really good understanding on the whole layout concept using the containers, different element settings, different positionings, hiding elements on different breakpoints, etc. So yeah, definitely take advantage of the community templates here just to play around, spend maybe an hour or so to see how different layouts are constructed. It's gonna definitely save you more time down the road. Now, what I quickly want to do for this page, I want to show you how we can insert some dynamic data. So let's just quickly have a look what sort of dynamic data we have for this page by clicking on this Edit in WordPress icon. That's one of the few cases where I would go back and edit my page with Gutenberg, because here we have our advanced custom fields data available. It's called hero image and it's using this image. So what I want to do now really quick is to create a hero section with this as a background image, and then maybe we're just going to put in a few elements, play around with some alignment options as well. Okay, empty canvas, we're going to insert our container. And I want to make sure that this hero section covers my entire screen. So what I would do, I would edit this container just by clicking inside of it. And then I'm going to stretch it. This will make sure that it's going to cover the entire horizontal space. All right, that's already achieved. Now what I can do, I can change the unit here for the height. And then I'm just going to drag this to... I cannot really get to 40%, so what I can do here, I can go to Style, Layout, and I'm going to adjust this to 40 VH. So this is the unit for the viewport height. You can also, of course, change this to, let's say, EM, and would have this height. I'm going to stick with VH, and I'm now going to insert my ACF background image. So under background, you can also select an image from your WordPress media library. So I can pick an image from here, but in our case, we want to use the dynamic data option, which is available here in this drop-down menu. So if I select this, I have a few options. I can select a featured image. This page doesn't have any featured image. So if I would select this, it's also going to tell me that the featured image is empty. So instead, we're going to use that hero image. And you can now see it's using the hero image, which is that one right here that we defined as a custom field via the ACF plugin. All right. Inserting elements is also really easy. There are two ways to go about this. The fastest option is just to select the container where you want to put those elements inside of, and then you just click on the elements. So for our really simple example here, I just want to insert a heading and a button. So just click on my heading, and you can now see the heading has been inserted here. And if I click on the button now, I'm going to insert my button. And I can just go ahead and insert any other element inside of this container. The second way would be to use drag and drop. So let's just say I want to, for that also you don't need to select your container. You can just deselect it. You can see it's not highlighted here anymore. If I select it, it's highlighted like this. I'm going to deselect it. And if I want to insert an icon as well, then I can just drag this icon inside of this container. So you can see here this little placeholder showing me this would now insert the icon below my button. If I want to insert it in between, I can just release my mouse and you can now see the icon has been inserted. You can also confirm this here in the structure. We've got our heading, we've got our icon, and we've got our button. You can also use the structure here to rearrange your elements via drag and drop. So let's just say I want to have my heading displayed after my button, then I can just move my heading here. Now you can see I've got my heading, my button, and my icon. In order to delete an element, you can do this from the structure panel as well. We just hover over those three little dots here, and then we just click delete. Or what you can also do, you can just right click on this icon here. Okay, it's gonna bring up the custom context menu, and then I can just click delete here. You can now see the icon element has been deleted, and it's also not available in our structure anymore. Now what I want to do, let me first maybe change my canvas, I want to change this actually back to 1200, not 1280, to just reduce the scaling a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to lock it again. That's how you do it. And now I want to make sure those are centered horizontally, but also vertical. So in order to do this, I would select the surrounding container. So I just click on the container, and then under the content tab, we can see that we can set the alignment options. We already stretch this container, and in order to align the elements inside of this container, I can just say center it. So now it's centered vertical, and here horizontally as well. And now it's centered. If I want to change the text of my heading or text element or button, I can just click onto the canvas. You can see now the text is selected. We can also perform some options here. If you want to make this bold or underlined, I can set those formatting options by using this formatting toolbar. But what I want to do, I want to rename this. I'm just going to call this hero section. All right. I also want to change the margin, and the fastest way to do this is just when you edit an element, you can hover outside of it and you can now see this is highlighted. So if I drag this now, I can increase my margin. This is a really fast way to set the margin, but also the padding. So if I want to set the padding, you can see I hover inside of this element and I can now change the padding value as well. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to an H1 heading as well. So I'm going to change the tag to H1. For the button itself, I want to change the size to extra large, so its visibility is a bit better. I'm going to make this a circle button, and that's everything for my hero section. You can see how quickly I can build this without basically having to do the walkthrough. I would probably set this up in less than a minute. Okay, now we can save. We haven't saved anything so far. We can go here to our revisions. I have saved this previously. Let me just remove all of the revisions. And as you can see, I have no revisions in here anymore. And I need to make sure to now save this manually. And there are two ways to do this. The manual approach here, the one that's a bit slower, is just by clicking this disk icon up here in the top right corner of our toolbar. And you can see my change has been saved. Current version is now part of my revision history. The way I like to perform the manual save is by using a keyboard shortcut. On Mac, that is Command S, or if you're on Windows, it's going to be Control S. So if I just go somewhere here, you can see I'm not clicking now anything. I'm just going to use Command S. You can see it shows me the save message, and then also you can see I have 2 revisions. And if you want to get the entire list for all the available keyboard shortcuts, those are also part of the Bricks Academy. There's an article for keyboard shortcuts, and you can actually access the Bricks Academy right inside the builder. That's what this little icon is here for, this little help icon, this question mark. If we click it, it's going to bring up this Bricks Academy model. And this is the same data that you will also see on the website, just a faster way to access it. And for keyboard shortcuts, I can just click here to bring up the article, or if you look for any other topic, you can also just type it into this search field here. So if I look for keyboard shortcut, press enter, I can now see this article here, keyboard shortcuts. I click on it, and you can now see the entire list of all the available shortcuts. You can save your changes, Command S, toggle between the preview, go to the elements panel, switch between the different breakpoints, do an undo and redo, switch between different blocks here as well, hide the structure panel, show and hide the structure panel, delete a block, quit and close your current action, etc. Okay, I'm going to close this just by clicking outside of it. If you want to toggle between the preview, what we just saw in this keyboard shortcut, Control Command P, you can toggle like this, or you can just click this little eye icon right here. If you want to have a look how this page looks on the front end, we can click here, View on Front End. As you can see, it looks exactly like it looks here in the builder. Now in between the two different tabs, this is the builder, this is the front end. Perfect. Okay, let's go back to the builder, and we are done with our hero section here. In the next step, I'm going to show you how we can create our website header. And if you can recall, we already created our header template back in the WordPress dashboard, and we can access this one and edit it right within Bricks without leaving the builder. So first off, we're going to need to open our template library. So we just click on this folder icon, and then we've got our header here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Edit. And now it's going to load the builder again, and it's going to load up our header template. Right now it's empty, there's nothing inside of it. So we're just going to create a really simple header. Just probably going to put in a logo and a nav menu. I think that should be enough to illustrate how to use the header. Again, you can do this by using a predefined template, or you can just do it from scratch, which is what we are going to do right now. Start off by inserting a container, editing it, and we want to make sure it's gonna take up the entire horizontal space. So we're gonna stretch it. All right, that's that part. And now we are going to insert the logo element. So I type in logo, I can press the tab key to navigate to this element, and then I press enter. And this is going to insert my logo element. You can see this here. Now inside of my container, I've got my logo. This is another little trick to save some time if you're going to perform this process a lot. This definitely helps you to save a few mouse movements and shaves off a few seconds of your website build time. Okay, nav menu was the other element. So I'm going to go here, tab, enter. Now, I actually don't want to use this menu. It's a bit long. I'm going to change it. I'm going to select my nav menu element. You can see now here it's currently active, and I'm going to show my header shop menu. Okay, and now I've got my elements below each other, which is not what I want. What I want is I want to have my logo on the left and my menu on the right. So what I have to do, I have to change the direction of my container. So I select my container, change the direction to horizontal. Also want to make sure they are horizontally centered. So I'm going to click here on center. All right. And then I want to make sure that my logo shows on the left and my nav menu on the right. For that, I need to go here, space between. Now, as you can see here, this is my logo on the left and my nav menu is now on the right-hand side. I also want to increase the padding somewhat. So I'm going to go to Style, Layout. I'm going to link the padding values because I want to use the same value on all 4 sides, and I'm going to put in 15 pixel. All right, that looks already much better. I actually want to show the hamburger menu by default and not this menu on all breakpoints. So I select my nav menu under Content, show the mobile menu toggle on mobile landscape. So by default, when you go to mobile landscape, it would show you this hamburger menu like this, but I want to show this on all breakpoints. So on the base breakpoint, I'm going to tell him I always want to see that one. So now it shows up here by default. Another thing we can do just to make this a bit more visible is maybe give it a background color. And I'm just going to go to background, select the background color, and then I'm going to pick a color here. We've got different color palettes, and this is also a concept that we're going to explore in a minute. I just want to finish building out this header. So I'm going to set a custom color. I'm just going to use F0, 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 just a light gray color. Okay, so my header looks like this now. Let's save our header. And as you might recall, we've defined template type header for this one. So now that this header is published, we've saved our header data. This should now be picked up by Bricks by default. Let's have a look. So we're here on the front end now. This is our page that we created with our hero section. And if I would refresh this now, it should show me my header. I refresh, and as you can see, I have my header here, and I have my page content right below it. What you can also do inside of the header, if you want to actually see how this looks like on a specific page, you can populate this header template with the content of any of your pages. And in order to do this, we need to access our header settings. You can do this from here. So I can click on settings and then template settings and then header. Okay, you can see here the different settings available, or if you want to access the header settings real quick, you can just click on header settings and it's going to bring this one up. Now what we want to do, we want to populate this header template with some data. More specifically, we want to populate it with this hero section. And the name of this page here was blank, so I'm going to look for that one, populate content, what sort of type. It's a single page, so I'm going to select single. And then I'm going to search for blank. Okay, so you can see here also the post type. This is a page. This is the one that we want. So I select it, and then I click on apply preview. Now it's going to reload the builder. This just takes 2 or 3 seconds because the builder loads really quick. And you can now see, while we added our header template, we also have our page data right below it. And this is also specifically helpful if you want to use some different layout options here. For example, if you want to have a sticky header, maybe for that one, I would just remove my background color in order to show you that, to illustrate this example a bit better. So I have my background color here. I can just quickly remove it by clicking this little red cross icon. This removes the background color. And now I go to header settings and I want to make this a sticky header. So now you can see that this header, if I would have more page content, I would scroll down, this header would scroll down with the page and it would sit right at the top. You can also make this sticky on scroll, so it's only become a sticky header once you start scrolling down. All right, let's remove those options and save our header. And now we've created our header template. We've created a hero section here with a background image that we've populated through dynamic data, because that one, as you remember, was set up in advanced custom fields. We've selected this in Gutenberg. We've got our hero section title here with a heading element and a button element. So next up, what I would like to show you is the theme styles. And in order to do this, we will actually go back to our blank page. This is the one on the front end. Can actually close that one. And let's go to that page right within the builder. So I go to pages and then I go to blank. Now if this page reloads, you can see that it also is using our header here. This is our global header. It will be shown by default throughout our entire website. We can change this via template conditions. Again, this is a great example of why it really pays off to spend some time in the Academy, because obviously we have an article about that as well. So if we go to Builder, Templates, I think it's this article, an intro to templates. There's also a video here and a lot of information explaining the whole community template concept, my templates, how you can import, export. And it also explains the whole template condition. So this helps you to granularly fine-tune where you want to show a specific template. Maybe you have a website where you want to use multiple headers. You just have a header for your homepage, and then maybe you have a different header for your archive page. Through template conditions, you can tell Bricks exactly where you want to show a specific template. Template types, there's also an explanation here for template types. Which one Bricks is going to pick up by default. We already talked about this. The header and the footer is picked up by default, but also the arrow page template and the search results template, same as the archive template. Right, next up, I would like to cover the theme styles topic. So in Bricks, you can very easily override the default styling of your page and also of every single element. And in order to do this, we need to go to settings and then theme styles. In my installation here, I have 2 theme styles already, the default theme style and one that I created called Bricks. If I select this, and you watch the typography here, you should be able to detect a change. Once I select this, you can now see that the typography changed here, and that is because I've customized my typography settings. You can also see this here, this little indicator, this gray dot telling me that there are some typography settings in here. You can also customize the elements down here. So from the accordion, a load button, carousel, all the way down to this WordPress element here. You can override the default styling. This will apply to all element instances. And if you want to customize an individual element, of course, you can always just click on that element and make your individual changes. Those, of course, will precede your theme styles because they are more specific. So you can see here for typography, I've got a body typography change, and also for all of the headings, I changed the font family to Germanist 700, so that's bold. And my body typography, I changed to Inter. Or we can do the same thing ourselves. I'm just going to remove this one. It's not deleted, I just deselected basically. And we're going to create our own custom theme style right now. And in order to do this, we can click on this plus icon here, give our style a name. Let's just call it my style, click create. And now you can see we've got the my style selected. It's currently not doing anything because we haven't customized anything down here. And I'm just going to perform the same action just to keep this simple. So typography, for my headings, I want to use the font family, and I want to use this Germanist. And this is a custom font that, if you remember in the beginning of this video, I showed you our custom fonts in the WordPress dashboard. One of them was this Germanist. So if I go down, I have my standard fonts here. I scroll down. Now I have the list of my custom fonts. And if I scroll further down, I can see all of the Google fonts. So let's select Germanist. And font weight, also make sure it's 700. And now you can see it updated my font. It's now using this custom font. Same thing we can do for our body typography. So this is all of the text on our website. I could change the font family, and I could also just search for Inter. I can just put in Inter. Okay, select it. And now you can see it's updated right here. Font weight, I'm also going to make sure it's 400. And then I can save my changes. Now, if I would go to the front end, let's just quickly do this just to illustrate my point. You can now see that it's not being applied. And this is because we need to set our conditions for this theme style. We need to tell Bricks where we want to show and where we want to use those styles that we just defined. By default, they're not going to show up on the front end. And we can do this here under the conditions. So I go to conditions, I add one condition, and I'm only going to add one because I want to apply this my style on my entire website. So here I say entire website. And now if I save this change again, I go to my front end, you can now see that this theme style has been applied. And you can go ahead and customize any other element down here. I'm going to skip that part. The process is always the same. We would just open this one up for the button, for example, and then I can say typography, text transform, everything uppercase. I click here, you can now see my button is uppercase. And this would also apply to any other button that I insert. So if I'm going to put in another button here, you can now see it's also uppercase by default. And I can override this individually by going to Style, Typography when editing this button. And then I can just say text transform, none. And it's going to override this theme style. Let's delete this one. And let's move on to colors in Bricks, how you can create a custom color palette. And I'm going to demonstrate this on this little button right here. So first of all, we need to edit our button. So I just click on this little pencil icon, and the typography is already selected. That's not what I want. Let's close it. I want to change the background color. So I go here, click on background color, and I scroll down here. And those are my color palettes that I currently have. So if I click here, you can see I have a default color palette with those colors defined. and this one. And this one comes from a template that I inserted, and I imported the color palette alongside it. But we actually want to create our own custom color palette. So I am going to click on Create New Palette, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this My Palette. And then I click on Create. If you have a existing color palette that you previously exported, or maybe from another Bricks installation, you can also import it right here. In our case, we're going to create one from scratch. So we click Create. And now you can see my palette has been created. And you can also see this little instruction here telling me that I can add my first color to this palette by selecting the color value above and then click Save. Okay, let's change this color to this purple color here. All right, that looks all right to me. Now I click Save. And now you can see this color has been added to my palette here. You can also give this color a different name if you don't like this color one naming convention by default. So you can just click on list view here. And now you've got various actions. You can also delete your color from here. You can copy this value to the clipboard if you want to use this color value in another instance somewhere in Bricks, maybe in your custom CSS. You can do this here. In our case, I just want to rename this. Instead of color 1, I'm just going to call this main color. Okay, click Save. Now it's called main color, and I can switch also back to grid view. Now it's called main color right here. Let's also add an icon to our page here. So click on icon. I want to show you how you can use this color that we just created on multiple elements, and also how you can update existing custom colors. So first of all, I want to align this a bit nicely. I'll give it some margin. 60 looks better. Another shortcut that's really helpful that I use a lot is when you change a number, you can just click in here. You can either just also drag it up and down like this, or if you press Shift and then arrow up and down, it increases by a magnitude of 10. So instead of going up 1 pixel at a time, you can just go up 10 pixels at a time by pressing Shift and arrow up or down. Okay, that looks good. And next up, I want to change my color. I want to use the same main color that we use for our button. So I go to color, typography color. My palette is already selected. Color is not active yet. So I click here. Now this color is selected. And that's exactly what I want. Okay, let's save our change. But what about if you have an existing color, like this main color, and at some point you decide to want to maybe update this color value? You can also do this very easily by clicking on list view again, and then you want to edit your main color. Now you can see this value changed from save to update. So now I can change this to maybe a orange color. Okay, looks good to me. I click update, and now you can see my color changed here for my icon, but also here for my button, because now this value has been updated. As you can see, it's using this newly saved and updated color value. The last thing that I quickly want to show you, but also not going into too much detail, because there's also an Academy article for responsive editing in Bricks, is once you've done with your design, you're happy with your layout, you need to make sure that it also looks good on your mobile devices. So what you can do here, you can switch and go one by one through the smaller breakpoints. So by default, we have this desktop base breakpoint. The styles here will automatically be applied to every device, down to like the smartphone here in portrait mode. So if I'm happy now here with my base breakpoint, actually let me increase the font size here so you can see that we really need to take care of those different breakpoints. I'm going to increase this to a bigger number. Okay, but that's actually also too big for desktop. Let's just say I want to have this big heading right here. Let's save it. And I'm going to have a look at the tablet. I'm going to go to the next smallest breakpoint. You can see here already it looks too big. So what I can do now in this breakpoint, I can say instead of this 88, you can see this here, this placeholder number. This is what's being inherited from our base breakpoint. I can say instead of 88, maybe I set this to 60. All right, that looks already much better. Let's use that one here. Then I go to my next smaller breakpoint, which is mobile landscape 60. You can see the value here coming from the tablet, which is defined too big. So I'm going to change that as well to 50. And also the viewport height of 40, I think. Sorry, I need to go to my container. The one that we set on the base breakpoint in the beginning, it's also like not enough here. So I can just maybe change this to 60. So I have some spacing here at top and bottom. Okay, that looks better as well. Of course, you can also just put this to 100 and it looks like this. Now we can go to mobile portrait, have a look. How does it look here? Yeah, not too bad. Maybe I want to change actually the color of my heading here on this breakpoint. So I can go here, typography, color, change this to white. I'm not going to save this here. I'm not going to add this to my color palette. I just want to have this white color being used here once. I'm not intending to use this in my color palette really. So I'm just going to set this as a one-off setting here for this specific header. Okay, let's save. And let's have a look by navigating through our breakpoints. If you recall, I can just press Command B or Control B if you're on a Windows to toggle through the breakpoints. So if I press Command B, it now brings me to my desktop breakpoint. Everything looks good here. I click again, Command B, tablet. All right, looks good as well. Has this font size 60 that we defined just a minute ago. Let's have a look at the next one. Mobile landscape is using this font size. And mobile portrait is using a white color for our heading right here. Now that we also optimized our page for mobile devices, we officially reached the end of this Bricks tour. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, make sure to hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date and be informed about any other new Bricks videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. As mentioned a few times throughout this video, I would highly recommend you to use the Bricks Academy whenever you need a how-to guide, how to use a specific feature, best practices, and some tips on how to use Bricks. If you need feedback from the community, from our user base, go over to Facebook, make sure to join the Bricks community here. We also got the forum over at forum.bricksbuild.io. Or if you need customer support, you can email us anytime via help@bricksbuilder.io. All right, with that being said, I hope you enjoy Bricks and happy building.